to Versus Character Cards!
What's up and welcome to Versus Character Cards, the Versus show without the verses. In this series, instead of analyzing two fighters to determine who wins in a battle to the death, I'm only covering one character at a time, researching who they are and what they can do to find how powerful they really are. I guess you could consider this a respect thread in video form or a versus cheat sheet, as you could use this as a base for your own research in your own versus show. Just don't download and actually put this episode in your show, because I have had that done before, more than once. But anyways, we're back and we have a new look, and today we're covering Boston's brutal batter, Team Fortress 2's The Scout. A character who should be Super Smash Bros. #1 choice if they were to add a PC rep. Enough jibber jabber though, let's get started, and be sure to stick around until after the episode so you can see who we are covering next time. Welcome back to Versus Character Cards. Born in Boston, Massachusetts, little Jeremy here was the youngest of 8 brothers, and as you can imagine in any house with 8 brothers, fights break out on the daily. Unfortunately, the Scout here was a bit too slow and fights would end before he gets within punching distance, so he trained himself up to run fast so he could finally be part of the fray. And that's about as simple of an origin story as you can get. This simple speed training launched Scout's career path as he became the fastest member of his team of mercenaries. In fact, he's probably the best suited out of anyone on his team for multiple missions like capture the flag or control points. And the spy's his dad. I don't know what else to say. I coincidentally got through this bio too fast. It's pretty thematic though, I suppose, so why don't we get a move on? Now, of course, Scout's speed training allows him to run really fast, but it also mysteriously granted him the ability to double jump too. He has some incredible mobility, and some of his weapons even enhance it. Scout mainly uses shotguns, and a few of them have unique attributes. Scout's force of nature has a knockback so powerful it can actually move him in the air, basically giving him another extra jump. He has the Soda Popper, which will grant him multiple additional jumps depending on how much damage he's done to his opponent. And the Babyface's Blaster increases his already incredible speed by 40%. Those are just his primary weapons though. Scout also has a bunch of secondaries. Mainly he uses pistols, like the Winger, which increases his jump height, or the Babyface's Blaster, which heals him for how much damage he does to his opponent. We can't forget his handful of soothing beverages though, like Mad Milk. When Scout douses his enemies with it, they take additional damage from all of his attacks. There's the Criticola, which enhances Scout's own strength, but then his own personal favorite drink of choice, Bonk Atomic Punch. Now, a misconception about Bonk Atomic Punch is that it makes Scout invincible, but this is not true. This is only how Bonk works in gameplay, because it would kind of be impossible to program how Bonk actually works into the gameplay. Canonically, the actual effects of Bonk is that it makes Scout so hyper and so fast that he's able to avoid anything thrown at him. We'll get to that later. But that's why in gameplay there's a giant red mist that appears above his head whenever you shoot him while he's under the effects of Bonk, instead of a 0 damage or blocked that an invincibility effect would likely grant him. This incredible speed does come with a downside though. Scout is so hyper that he can't focus on aiming, so neither his primaries or secondaries can be used while under the effects of Bonk, only his melee weapons. His taunt kills confirm this. His melee weapons definitely are good enough on their own though. The Atomizer grants him an extra jump, the Rap Assassin allows him to launch a snow globe at his opponents that makes them bleed upon impact, and the Sandman lets him stun opponents with a baseball. This has all been Scout exclusive stuff though. There's a couple general things shared amongst the entire team, like magical spells. With a spellbook or magic catalog, Scout is able to shoot fireballs, get an extra super high jump, turn invisible, gain extra health, summon a rain of super small meteors into a certain area, create pumpkin bombs, ubercharge himself without the need of a medic, and more. Speaking of the medic though, this Mad Doctor has actually done something insane and made respawning canon by harvesting all the souls of his teammates. Both he and the Scout have come back to life of their own accord. Pretty nuts, right? But I think that was the last of it. Scout did have a ton. Now let's see what he can do with it. Well, I guess of course we should start with the speed. Normally, Scout is quick enough to quick-step sentry gun fire from the engineer and move in tandem with the soldier's rockets, and some of his own weapons even increase that speed, so supersonic stats should be pretty easy. But once you factor in Bonk Atomic Punch, things get cranked up to 1,000 as once again it allows Scout to dodge anything in the game. Minigun fire from the heavy, shots from the sniper, and thanks to one of the later updates that the game got, laser guns. Yep, you heard me correctly. Laser guns. You know what that means? That's right, it means sub-relativistic Scout, or just regular relativistic. There's no way he'd be faster than light, factoring in the range that he's dodging these from. I mean, of course, I guess he still technically dodges them if he's standing right in front of them and manages to avoid getting hit, but that's kind of really highballing it, since that usually never happens, even in gameplay. So let's just stick with sub-relativistic Scout. Still good, but he shouldn't be faster than light. Anyways, let's move on to his strength and durability, which are significantly more mundane. Physically, Scout is strong enough to knock out a bear by cracking a bone over its face, and his weapons are strong enough to shatter robots and destroy giant tanks. He also survived getting launched by 3 of the soldier's rockets. Now this feat has some arguments against it, but they're honestly kinda flimsy. A quick example of one would be that the rockets didn't directly hit Scout, even though we get a completely first-person view of the rocket hitting him right in the face. So yeah, just accept it. Not to mention it's consistent anyways with other feats we get from Scout at small building level, as Scout has suffered tons of abuse from Saxton Hale. You know, the guy who not only was able to kill a Yeti so powerful that nothing else on Earth can destroy it, but make it explode in one punch too? Yeah, that's Saxton Hale. So overall, Scout may not be the strongest, but his incredible speed along with his insanely large arsenal should help him pick up the slack in that area. Do not mess with that motor-mouthed merc. Time for the conclusion segment. In conclusion, it's been a while since we've had an episode, so I'll refresh your memory. Usually this segment is a lot less boring to look at. I'd have fan art from you guys playing on the screen, but since it's been so long, everyone's kinda forgotten, so let's kick things back up into high gear for next episode. Be sure to submit your fan art in the art show channel of my Discord server or send it to me on Twitter with the hashtag #versus_character_cards. It can be art of the character we just covered, art of the character we're covering next, art of me, or even our little mascot Star. You know, the cute little elf lady you saw in the bottom left corner of the screen, and whose voice you hear at the beginning and end of each episode. Anyways, finally getting back to Scout. He's super neat and has a lot of super interesting matchups, but he actually wins most of them thanks to his incredible speed and insane arsenal despite his lack in power. Negan from The Walking Dead and Tracer from Overwatch as quick examples. Now, people honestly can't seem to decide which strength the verse of Overwatch has, they keep going back and forth. So Tracer is constantly flipping between stronger and weaker than Scout. But speed and arsenal-wise, Scout remains way consistently in the lead, so he should win that one. It's hard to find a close matchup for Scout that he actually loses because characters around his level of power usually don't have his insane speed come with it. But if you think of anyone, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Anyways, let's see who's next.
Next time on Versus Character Cards, it's the Gorillas.